From Nutrien Ag Solutions, this is Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, August 29th, 2022. Temperatures right now a little cooler in the west, warmer in the east. That's a bit of a flip over what we've seen over the last few weeks, and it's also a flip over what we will see over the next week or so. We do have a system making its way through, though, right now. A little bit of shower and storm activity across central and southern portions of Manitoba. Out ahead of that storm system and slightly cooler air coming in on the backside of here, but that is going to change quickly as we head through the rest of the week. Another warming trend with excessive heat possible here during the last day or two of August into the first day or two of September, depending on where you are. Now here's a look at that. We'll look at the satellite picture with our lovely glitch here at the very beginning of that, but you see the system exiting at the end of the frame there. We'll just take it to the end of that loop. And we'll pause it there because you can kind of see what's going on. Again, here's our storm system right now making its way through Manitoba on into Ontario. Shower and storm activity kind of wrapping around the north side of that, extending down along the front into portions of the Midwest of the United States where I live there. And then again, dry air ridging, pushing in here. Temperatures are going to be on the rise as we head through the next few days. Precipitation chance is going to be gone for the most part across the prairie for the better part of this week and likely into the day 7 to 10 time frame as well. So here's the radar picture again. This is around 7 a.m. Central Time on Monday morning. So if you're watching this a bit later, maybe take an updated look at the radar if you're in, portions of central and southern Manitoba. Otherwise, we have dry conditions across the prairie today, and those dry conditions will linger on through much of the week. We'll see that when we look at the NAM model here. This will take us through Thursday again. Over the next 12 to 18 hours, showers pull away out of Manitoba, not Montana, out of Manitoba into Ontario. High pressure then comes in on the backside, will be ridged out, clear skies, mild conditions across the prairie for the better part of this week. We do have a little disturbance that kind of zips over the top of the ridge right here, kind of on Thursday. The better chance for showers, maybe a couple storms, is going to be well north of Highway 16, but we will have a frontal boundary extending south from there. It's not impossible that, say, Thursday afternoon. This is what we have here. Thursday midday, Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening. Maybe an isolated or scattered shower or storm chance across the prairie, but really much of the more widespread quick-hitting shower chance is going to be north of Highway 16, really elaborating on what is a negligible precipitation chance because it's all that we really have this week. So we look at the total precipitation forecast through Thursday again, looking at scattered showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms over the next 12 to 18 hours across portions of Manitoba. This is your Thursday storm system quickly zipping across northern portions of the prairie provinces with dry conditions across much of the region through this week. As we add in the next couple of days following that, this takes us all the way through Saturday, September 3rd. Again, this is your precipitation here on Monday, and then we've got dry conditions looming for the rest of the week. Here's the next week precipitation anomaly forecast from the European Ensemble model. Again, much of the precipitation this week going to be confined to east and southern portions of Canada and the United States here with drier conditions across western Canada down into the central and western United States with high pressure across the region, the jet stream simply skipping us here, jumping way up to the north. Again, quiet conditions, mild conditions across the prairie here and much of the central and western U.S. As we head into week 2, this is week 2 here, your precipitation chances as we focus on the Canadian prairie, still looking at near average to maybe drier conditions as we head into the September 6th through the 12th time frame. Relatively low confidence, and that's pretty typical here as we get toward late summer, early fall. We're getting into a transitional period here. The models are kind of struggling at deciphering how we're going to go about some of these pattern changes here because they will be coming. Of course, we won't be seeing temperatures here in the upper 20s to low 30s forever through the rest of September into October. So things are going to change at some point. And we'll have to watch that to understand, when does that first frost come in? And we'll talk about that here toward the end of this video. But as we look at week 2, no obvious shift toward a real rainy pattern. If anything, it looks like we'll probably keep things on the drier side, but maybe reintroduce some isolated to scattered storm chances as we get into the second week of September. But as we look at the jet stream picture here, this is going to take us through the next 10 to 14 days. Here's what we've got here Monday morning, August 29th, that trough, that area of low pressure across southern Manitoba, ridging coming in on the back side of that. So here's what we've got as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, midweek, big ridge across the region. We'll see that heat peaking here as we get into the end of August, first couple days of September. Here is that little disturbance here Thursday that kind of zips over the top of the ridge. You see it right there coming from northern Alberta into northern Manitoba as we go through Thursday into Friday of that week. Again, maybe a couple isolated showers or storms across the prairie, but predominantly this thing kind of just quietly passes off to our north. And then what happens on the backside of that? The same thing. Ridging rebuilds. We'll see that heat build across the region again, troughing way off across the Gulf of Alaska. So the jet stream coming up over the top of that ridge. We are going to be mild. We are going to be dry across the prairie with a pattern such as that. As we take a look at the precipitation forecast, just using the ensemble model, so a bit of a broader picture here, looking at this in 24-hour increments. Again, showers and storms, they pull out of Manitoba today. Dry conditions across the prairie then for the week, with ridging, the jet stream. Where the jet stream goes, that's where the active weather goes. So you can see the shower and storm activity lifting over the top of the ridge across northern portions of Canada through the week. This is Thursday, Friday, getting into the weekend coming up here. And then as we get into next week, maybe again, reintroducing isolated to scattered shower and storm activity, but all indications are much of the more widespread precipitation going to be avoiding the prairie as we head into the second week of September, but simply maybe trying to bring things slightly further south here as we get deeper into that second week toward the middle of September. Temperatures over the next week or two, again, periods of ridging. We're going to see that excessive heat at times across the region. Hottest in the west across Alberta, portions of Saskatchewan. Looking at temperatures anywhere from 3 to 8 degrees C, warmer than average as we head through the next 5 to 7 days. Winds a little bit breezy across Manitoba, maybe eastern Saskatchewan here out of the northwest as that area of low pressure here across Manitoba starts to pull away. Maybe some breezy conditions on the backside of the system that passes off to the north here late week. By and large, though, not looking at much in the way of gusty winds here this week. Again, ridging kind of lends itself to that. It's going to be pretty warm, pretty still, pretty quiet out there in most locations as we head through the next 5 to 7 days. And as we just look at the entire month of September, the latest outlook here from the European seasonal model, keeping temperatures warmer than average across the prairie, and then keeping conditions here, near average to a little drier than average across the prairie. Now we're looking at this in, an entire month. I already told you predictability is going to be rather, tricky, rather low. So as we look at entire months, we have to understand that there are some wild cards built within that. What I can tell you right now is there's no obvious signal of a big incoming plunge of real cold air, no obvious signal of an early frost right now. But there are some indications that we may start to shake this pattern that's delivered excessive heat here in the next, 10 to 14 days as we get toward mid-September. So my confidence is, high that we're going to avoid that first frost over the next 10 to 14 days. But we get beyond day 14, getting closer to, what's typical, what's, maybe closer to average for a frost here. As we get a little bit deeper into the month of September, my confidence gets a little lower, but we'll address this day by day. Week by week. Right now, the confidence is pretty high in avoiding that really early frost. My confidence is also rather high in pretty dry conditions over the next 10 to 14 days. So those of you looking for dryness and warmth, you got thumbs up here. If you're looking for cold and some rainier conditions, needing a little bit more in the way of rain as we get through the next couple of weeks, unfortunately, that does not look likely, at least over the next 10 days. So here's your high temperature forecast. Your lows are also in there as well. I always focus on the highs, though, this time of year, even though we do want to look at those lows as they trail off here again toward mid-September. But anyway, I'm jumping all over the place. Over your next 7 days, we're talking about temperatures in the mid to upper 20s, near 30 degrees in Calgary. Less confidence as we get out into days 10 to 14, but you do see those temperatures starting to fall off, and that's that period we'll have to start watching here as we get into mid-September. Edmonton, excessive heat bouncing around between the upper 20s to near 30 degrees over the next 5 days. Very similar here in Saskatoon, similar in Regina. This is a widespread pattern that just about all of us will be feeling. Those kind of bumps, that would be that front that passes through here Thursday into Friday, but temperatures rebound as ridging reclaims the prairie, and Western Canada will have another run of excessive heat possible here as we get into the second week of September. Have a great Monday.